Pastor, are you using wisdom, understanding, and knowledge to build your church? I'm Dr. Ray, and welcome to this week's Hosea International Speaks. We need to consider how we build Yahweh's Ekklesia. We can build anything in a haphazard way, but what will its quality be? When we were young, we built by trial and error. Remember when we was in the sandboxes and we tried to build certain sand castles? We lived to suffer the trials that came because of our errors. In other words, while we sat there, we looked at our sand castle crumble as the wind blew it away. When we were a little more mature, we built by instinct and inspiration. Sometimes we might have used wood, especially when we was in wood shop. It was a matter of time before we realized that building a church was not just inspiration, but perspiration and work. Then we started to build by intuitive knowledge. That is, we began to perceive certain things when it came to building, and in this case, building a church. Church had growth when we heard Yahweh's voice clearly, then it stagnated when we had mixture. Our inability to hear clearly from Holy Spirit made building by spirit instinct difficult and uncertain. As we matured into His fullness, we realized that it is wisdom that builds the house. Proverbs chapter 24, verses 3 and 4 says, by wisdom a house is built, by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. We are beginning to understand that we need to build by design and strategy. Then concepts of building churches or ecclesias are clearly laid out in the books of Acts. We can see that. We'll look at some of those in the coming weeks. The apostles operated on the principles which were functional within the confines of the concepts in their minds of their day. Different apostles built according to the different concepts that were entrenched in their minds. When the progressive revelation of the Holy Spirit came, the paradigms of their thought patterns also changed. Even today, the borders of their thinking enlarged, breaking the formal religious and cultural boundaries. And we can see that throughout history with the different aspects of the different religions that we've seen in the past. The apostles were graced with wisdom to unlock hindrances and supervise the building job through to conclusion. The prophet to whom Yahweh chooses to reveal his secret counsel is basically responsible to initiate Yahweh's will and plans on the earth. Amos chapter 3 verse 7 says this, surely Adonai Yahweh does nothing unless he reveals his secret counsel to his servants, the prophets. Through his insight and revelations, the prophet brings understanding and clarity to that revealed word and will so that it is relevant in its time and place. The teacher then, however, provides the necessary detailed knowledge of Yahweh's principles so that the revealed will of Yahweh is properly executed on the earth. He explains and brings a sense of undergirding to the truth that has been spoken. Thus, the spoken word helps to establish the people in their spirits, while the explanation of it through the teacher puts a sense of certainty in their minds. The teachers fill the rooms with precious and pleasant riches so that the house is well furnished and livable. With that said, let's begin to look at the essential principles in building today's Ekklesia. Number one, leadership must build according to the present day divine pattern. I'm going to give you scriptures. You need to go and study them. Hebrews chapter 9, verses 2 through 4 and verse 8 says this. For there was a tabernacle. Notice that the present tense, past tense, there was a tabernacle prepared, the outer one, in which were the lampstand and the table and the sacred bread. This is called the holy place. Behind the second veil, there was a tabernacle which is called the Holy of Holies, having golden altar of incense and the Ark of the Covenant, covered on all sides with gold, in which was a golden jar holding the manna and Aaron's rod, which budded, and the tables of the covenant. Verse 8. The Holy Spirit is signifying this, that the way into the holy place had not yet been disclosed, while the outer tabernacle is still standing. Now, let's read what it says here in Exodus chapter 25, verse 9, and then verse 40. And it says this, according to all that I am going to show you, he's talking to Moses, as the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the furniture, just so you shall construct it. See that you make them, verse 40, see that you make them after the pattern for them, which was shown to you on the mountain. Here we read that the heavenly blueprint of the tabernacle has already been changed. The position of the altar of incense, which had been in the holy place, has been changed. The pattern that was previously shown to Moses on Mount Sinai had undergone a change because of the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross. The writer of Hebrew declares that the altar of incense is now in the Holy of Holies. This signifies that our worship, our prayer, and our intercession has taken on a spirit dimension. And Yahweh could be reached and touched by those who are dwelling, who are operating, who are walking in the Spirit. John 4, verses 23 and 24 says it this way, but an hour is coming, and now is, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For such people the Father seeks to be his worshipers. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. Ephesians continues in chapter 6, verses 18 and 19. It says it this way, with all prayer and petition, pray at all times in the Spirit, and with this in view, be on the alert with all perseverance and petitions for all the saints, and pray on my behalf, that utterance may be given to me in the opening of my mouth, to make known the boldness of the mystery of the gospel. If we were building the tabernacle today, we would need to build it according to the heavenly pattern as it is in heaven today, not as it was in the past. Well, we're going to pick it up from here next week with the principles or the continuing principles it takes to building Yahweh's Ekklesia. As you can see, today's pattern, how we build today, is a little more precise than it was then. Even though Moses had to see what Yahweh was doing, was given to him on Mount Sinai. Well, we're in Yahweh's mountain today, whatever area he's calling it to. There are 7 mountains, and we're being breathed upon by the mountain, from God's mountain, upon each mountain today. Well, if you enjoyed this week's session, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you have not yet subscribed, now would be a good time to do it. And if you wish to contact me, you can write me also at Hosea International at yahoo.com or Hosea Speaks at gmail.com. And if you wish to give, you can still do it by scanning one of the QR codes up on your screen. I'm Dr. Ray, and I'll see you next week on Hosea International Speaks.